Joining me now, Dr. Ben Carson, former HUD Secretary and Professor Emeritus at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. All right, Mr. Secretary, the question here is people really, I think, are underestimating the looming problem of the housing. As the former HUD Secretary, you got to see this and shake your head.
It is really, your examples were so spot on, how much difference it makes when those interest rates go up like that. It's a difference between affordability and non-affordability. And, you know, we're talking Bidenomics, and they're trying to make it out to be something good. It's something that's horrible. All these things that are happening are self-inflicted. It did not have to happen at all. And why do we have so much inflation? Well, first of all, pumping all of that money, the trillions of dollars, into an economy that was already well on the way to recovery, without increasing goods and services, of course you're going to cause a lot of inflation. And the average American, they're concerned about how much it costs to fill up their tank.
Yeah.
How much does it cost to put food on the table? How much is their mortgage? All these kinds of things. And the progressives are just trying to gaslight people and say, that's not a real problem. Come on, things are really great. What would you expect to happen? You pump all that money in. Yeah. You bring in also millions of people from the outside. They have to be supported too. I mean, our citizens are not being placed first. They're being placed last. Yeah. And I think they're seeing it. And a lot of times it has to get pretty dark before people can see the light. I think a lot of people who were blind before are starting to see what's going on.
Yeah, well, I would hope so. I mean, like, look, gas price. Look, everybody in this country pumps gas. Well, everybody but Mike Pence. They pump gas, and they understand that at the pump they're paying $2 more than they were under Trump. And if this doesn't scare you, look at this. Mortgage rates right here could hit 8%. Economists say, citing worrying sign that they're we're not going to be in the Great Depression, but definitely a Great Recession. In other words, it's like you said, it's going to get darker before it gets better. But how come these people in the White House, do they not want to turn the corner and fix the problem, or are they just fine with us all suffering?
Well, I don't think that they're necessarily bad people. I think they just have very little understanding of actions and consequences. And what happened, they don't know. Like you said before, they're out of touch with reality. And it's a huge problem. Mm-hmm. And these mortgage rates are going to continue to go up. The only reason that things aren't worse than they are now is because we had an incredibly strong economy to start with.
Yeah.
Because the previous administration came in, they deregulated, took all those regulations away, which allowed business to explode, let people have their own money. Those things can turn this around very, very quickly once again as well.
Well, let's talk about commercial real estate, though, because this is another looming monster that people aren't talking about. 20% is set to be refinanced in the next year at 7, 8, whatever percent mortgage rates that they have. That's, if you're talking 40% more expensive at the month-to-month payment, what's that going to do to renters and storefronts and business owners and things like that that have to rely on that? Are we going to see a loss of business like we've never seen before?
That would be the case unless something happens to encourage people again. They're going to try to manipulate, but they've done pretty much all the manipulation that you can do without having more adverse effects. So I do fear for the commercial real estate business and the things that are dependent upon it, because it's a domino effect. And all we have to do, what we the people have to do, is recognize that elections have consequences. And we have to be diligent in making sure that we get people back in there who actually understand and who actually put the interest of the American people first. And if we do that, we can turn this around relatively quickly. Yeah. But if we continue down this pathway for much further, it's going to be an absolute disaster for private property, for commercial property, for everything. That's the base of our economy, and it's just going to begin to crumble very quickly.
I'm old enough to remember a guy, I think his name rhymed with Trump, that was a real estate mogul, might be able to fix this. Dr. Ben Carson, always a pleasure, sir.
Thank you. Always a pleasure for me.